Okay, Hades Omega here. So it's another day of Hades Omega's KLX140 Big Bore Top End Rebuild vlog episode. But what is that's a lengthy title. Anyway, so yeah, so today we're gonna focus for this video we're gonna focus working on the cylinder head. So I'm not replacing the cylinder head. I was replacing the cylinder and the piston. So all that stuff is brand new. We didn't really have to do any work for it other than cleaning it up and like installing the pistons and all that stuff. So however, we will be reusing the cylinder, and we should, while it's off the bike, we should do some work on it. The so I'll tell you now, the very least that we should do with the cylinder head is clean the gasket surfaces, obviously, to prep it for the new gasket. And but Hades Omega is going to go a step further. That's the minimum work that you should do, at least clean the gasket surface. So when we put the new gasket on, it has a good surface to seal on. And we did that with the other parts too. So, but this one is pretty clean already, so it's not going to take a lot of work to clean that. But so what Hades Omega is going to do, we're gonna clean up the head a little bit and prep it for installation. But also we're going to do a little port and polish on it. I already got it off the bike. I might as well do a little port and polish if it needs it. I want to do a minimal amount of port and polishing. So what port and polishing does is it opens up the ports, so so you can get more airflow going through, in and out, basically. So we'll do the intake and exhaust. But what Hades Omega will do is we're just going to do what's called port matching. We're going to match all the like the gaskets and stuff, or the stuff that mounts to the outlets and the inlets, the exhaust and intake. We're just going to match it to the thing, and we'll do a little polish on it, so it's nice and smooth. You get some nice and smooth airflow. In my opinion, polishing doesn't really work all that well because it's just going to get covered with carbon anyway, and it won't be smooth anymore. Yeah, so those are the tasks that we'll be doing. And we'll be cleaning up the combustion chamber because it looks filthy. This may be the reason why our compression is high, is because it's caked up with carbon. No bueno. It's not. You don't like that. It should be nice and clean. So we'll clean it up. It's like cleaning a gun almost. But we're working with aluminum, so we have to be somewhat careful with it. All right, so here we go. Okay, so the prep for today's video, for this vlog, I took the head out of the box, and like a dodo brain, I kept it down with the opening down, so all the oil drained out of it. so I got a bunch of oil in a box right now. It was actually on top of this, so see all that oil right there. We're gonna also, I have my air compressor handy because we're going to be using some grinding tools to clean up the combustion chamber. I don't think we'll have to use a gasket cleaning disc like I normally do because the gasket came off pretty clean. I think this one is the metal gasket. The metal gasket comes out pretty clean. So, all right. So isn't it such a cute little head? It's so light. In fact, before we start working on it, let's see how much it weighs. Hades Omega is curious about this stuff. How much does engine weigh? So the cylinder head with the intake, with no rockers and no covers, weighs 5 pounds 8 ounces. Not a lot at all. So you can see it's really light. I can pick it up really easily. Really light. 5 pounds 8 ounces. Just in case you guys are wondering. Okay, this is for later, but I got my safety glasses ready, since we'll be working with some grinding tools. So the first thing we should do is strip the head of any extra parts that will get in the way of cleaning. So the dowels, the little alignment dowels, gotta go. So let's take that out. That'll make. I mean, we could clean the gasket surfaces with them in there, but if they can take them out, why not? So just make sure you put those somewhere safe and try to keep them somewhere they won't get dirty. So I'm just going to set these aside somewhere. Like up here. Okay, but don't lose them. Okay, next step is we're going to remove the intake manifold. Since we'll be doing some important polishing, we're going to have to take that out. Okay. So make sure you're working on a nice clean surface. I put these napkins down. If you remember from when I was working on the cylinder, these are the same napkins I was using, or tissue papers that I was using to thing it. To clean the cylinder. So might as well reuse them, right? They're not super dirty. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the intake manifold off. It's 5 millimeter. Okay. I don't remember the last time I took these off. And it will be a good idea to inspect your intake manifold while you're at it too. Sometimes these can go bad. Oh boy, does it smell like oil. It smells like kind of like burnt oil. Okay, so I got the 2 bolts out. Intake manifold comes out. It's pretty hard to forget which way it goes. It's this little nipple thing. It goes up. So yeah, obviously it's got this rubber nipple here. Make sure it's not cracked or anything, because you're gonna want that on there. I don't even know why they put that on there if you don't use it, you know. And then just inspect it carefully. So yeah, the rubber's pretty hard. If you have any problems with your bike starting or running, this may be the problem right here. So we could actually port this. I don't know how thick the pipe is though. That's a good question. Maybe we can open up just the lip a little bit, for maybe like 1 inch back. We might do that. We can open this up a little bit. I don't really want to. That's extra work though. And we're gonna have to. You don't really have to clean it because there's an O-ring. There's an O-ring around here, and the O-ring still looks good. So make sure you take a look at that O-ring. Make sure it's not cracked or anything. It doesn't look like it's too flat. They flatten over time and then they don't seal so well. Make sure it's still springy. Still springy up, still rubbery. So I'm not going to touch that. It still looks good. But yeah, if I wanted to, I think this bike has enough hours where we should probably replace this, but it looks like there's no problem with it. I don't see any cracks anywhere. You look inside, it's just a metal pipe, you know, with just some rubber on top of it. That's why it's so stiff. So just make sure the rubber is still rubbery, and it still is. So I think this is still in serviceable condition, so that's fine. Maybe we'll clean up this mating surface a little bit, but other than that, yeah, there's actually some kind of crud in there. We'll go clean that up too. So, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Let's put that somewhere where it won't get dirty as well. Okay, and then the last thing that could get in the way of us working on the head is the spark plug. We'll take the spark plug out because we may damage it. We may damage it when we clean the combustion chamber, because it's you can see it right in there. See. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can get this bad boy out with this little wrench. Oh, okay. No, maybe not. See if we can get this spark plug out. Okay. So funny. I tried to do it with a small wrench earlier, and I couldn't. A small socket, and I couldn't do it. I was like, "Whoops." Okay, it's not as easy to take out as when the head is on the bike. All right, there it is. Spark plug is out. It's boy is it really black and sooty. I think we're running really rich. So that should be good then. That's a good indicator that that is pretty black. That's probably why the cylinder is so black. I think maybe my carb is throwing a little too much fuel in there. So this is the plug after the last race that we had at Supermoto USA, and it's super black. Yeah, that's too rich, I think. But it's not right after we ran it, so yeah, I feel like it's running a little rich. But since we got the big bore kit, that's good. That means it might run a little leaner because we're throwing more air in there now. So maybe that means we may not have to rejet it. So we'll see. I heard if you bore up a cylinder, that you don't necessarily need to mess around with the jetting too much, unless you do a lot of modifications, which actually we are gonna do. So maybe we will. I don't know. Okay, so now the head is kind of sanitized. We've kind of cleaned it. We kind of took out all the extra parts from it: the spark plug, the intake manifold, and and the and the dowel pins also. So and then here we have our exhaust here. So you can see there's a, oh yeah, there's, you can port that a lot. Look at how small it is. Okay, so we might definitely clean that up a bit. It's really dirty. Look. Yeah, but you don't, make sure you don't, I know we don't, you want to use a really small bit on that. Let's clean up some of this oil. Also, right now would probably be a good time to, if you wanted to have it resurfaced and get a valve job, you could send it out to a shop. I don't do any of that stuff, so I'm not, he's not Mr. Machinist. So yeah, there's still a lot. There's a lot that you could port. So yeah, maybe we can do that. We can just maybe port this much a little bit, and we'll go like halfway. You can see it's a little rough. The intake is a little rough, and that's the way you gotta keep it. You don't polish the intake. Yeah, because you want the airflow to be a little rough for the intake. The exhaust is not, doesn't, you want that to be as smooth as possible. If anything, working on the exhaust is has more effect than working on the intake. Okay, anyway. Okay, so Hades Omega has decided we are going to do the port and polish first, because it's the one that's probably going to make the most mess. And if we do the port, I mean, it'll make a mess. So if we do the port and polish after we clean up the gasket and it may contaminate that stuff, and then we'll have to clean it again. So I've decided we're gonna go do the port and polish first. So yeah. Just in case Hades Omega is gonna put back the covers, we'll put the cam cover here, and we'll put the cam adjustment covers. We'll put those back on, and we'll go put the cam chain cover back on too. So just so we don't get any kind of shavings in there. As you can see, it's very clean in there right now, and we want to keep it that way. Okay, this is the cam gear or cam chain cover. I'm gonna put that back on. If you remember, this little port was facing up. We might want to stick a little piece of tissue paper in that port too, so dirt doesn't get in there. This thing about working on this kind of stuff, it's very meticulous stuff. I don't even think we need to bolt it in, because there's a rubber gasket, that seals it, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna rotate it so the holes line up. Hopefully I'm not messing the gasket up, and we'll just put the screws back in very lightly. Should be wearing gloves. Should wear gloves when this stuff is nasty. Okay, I got an 8mm driver here. Let's put it in very lightly. So like I said, it seals itself. Okay. Okay, I'm going to install the the exhaust valve adjustment cover back on. Just make sure I clean up the surface a little bit as well. Okay. And the cap a little bit too. I think it's fine, but just in case. Alright, oh, the gasket just fell off. That's not cool. So I marked it with the E for exhaust, and then there's an arrow pointing up this way, so we're going to install it this way. This one you do have to put the bolts on, or else it won't stay on. Flip it around. The intake. To surprised these parts aren't even dirtier, because I ride this bike in some pretty dirty places sometimes, you know. Okay, all the covers are back on, so now we can start our port and polish.